So this last week, I bought a Stanley Cup, not the hockey trophy, one of these cups that everybody in the world just seems to be infatuated with right now. If you don't know what it is, I'd like to know what rock you've been living under. Maybe you're overseas. I don't know if they've made it overseas yet, but it seems like, especially where I live in the southeastern United States, everybody and their mother seems to own one of these it's a big metal kind of tumbler type cup, has a straw, has a handle. I bought one this last week after trying not to buy one for a very long time, and I wanted to talk about that experience here on my podcast where I talk about things. So I think I still think that these are silly, overpriced cups. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna start my product review here on Chris's Product Corner with, I think these are very silly and I think they're very overpriced, but I still wanted to talk about it. So why did I buy one, first of all? So I think it's something that's come up a lot on Stuck on the Internet, or our various podcasts, our various and sundry podcasts, that we all kind of drink a lot. Alcohol, I drink a lot of alcohol, a fair amount of alcohol, and I also drink a lot of water as someone who lives in the southeastern United States where it's constantly 1,000,000 degrees. So I wanted to get something to be even better about drinking water, and part of that is because I drink a lot of bottled water. I drink a lot of bottled water. Like, I'll get a Sam's flat of water, which I think is like 42 bottles, and I'll drink that in a week. I think that's a lot of water anyway. But that's not super good for the environment, because plastic bottles are kind of terrible for the environment. I feel like even if you recycle them, I've read a few reports online that even if you recycle it, like, it's still kind of bad for the environment. So I thought, I want to be a little bit better about the environment, and I also really like to drink water at room temperature. That's a big thing about me. I cannot stand cold water. I do not like ice water. Even if I am boiling hot, I need my water to be room temperature. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that for a long time for work, I was on the road and working out of a work van, and I just had a case of water that sat in the floorboard. I think that's what started a lot of this. But I just had a case of water in the floorboard, and I think I just got used to drinking that all day. And once you get used to drinking room temperature, warmer water, it's kind of hard to go back. I think there are some health benefits. I don't know the health benefits. I haven't looked into it, but I've heard people say there's health benefits too to drinking room temperature or warmer water. I don't like it warm. I like it room temperature, and I usually keep a flat of water in our kind of front room area where I can just go through and grab one. So that's part of why I wanted to get this cup, so I could just set out like a Brita filter on the counter or something like that, and fill it from there. So I thought if I get a good cup to carry my water in, then I will be better about not destroying the environment. And that wasn't the main reason. I'm not gonna lie. The biggest reason I bought this cup was because I think it looks really pretty. I didn't get one of the normal, just plain colored ones. My wife has one of the plain ones. It's just like blue or teal. It's kind of a teal color, and that's what kind of started us on this journey. She got one a couple months ago, and she really likes hers. She takes it everywhere. It goes everywhere, and she's even got the little hats for it. She's got like a snack container. I didn't want to be involved in any of that. I don't need accessories. But we were at Dick's. We went to Dick's Sporting Goods, which is a sporting goods store, I'm pretty sure, which is fairly local. I think it's fairly local to the southeast. Dick's might be everywhere. Tell me, are there Dick's near you? Internet? We're getting the explicit tag early in this episode. So we I hate that store, by the way. That's an incredibly dumb name for a store, and I'm sure Dick's opened. When did Dick's open? How old is Dick's? When did Dick's Sporting Goods open? Hold on, we're gonna derail this. Dick's Sporting Goods Wikipedia. Oh, here we go. So Dick's Sporting Goods started 1948 in Bringhampton, New York is where it was founded. Okay, so Dick's are everywhere then. I would imagine if it's in New York, it's at least an East Coast chain, I would say. Anyways, yeah, it started in 1948, which I feel like was a more appropriate time for something to be called Dick's. But in 2024, when most people in the world have a dirty mind like I do, I can't talk about Dick's without laughing. So anyway, yeah, this episode's off to a fun start. So this is Anecdotal Madness, episode 8. I figured I should go ahead and throw an intro in here somewhere, because I feel like that intro bit went for a while longer than my intro bits normally go, and I haven't even got to like what I wanted to talk about with the cop. And it's funny because when I started this, I'm not good at planning these episodes at all. I want to let every one of you know that almost every one of these episodes, I have pulled everything I'm going to talk about out of my ass the moment the episode starts. And I had a few things I wanted to talk about this episode, and then I got derailed by dicks. I wonder if I could put that as the title of the episode and not have it taken down. I'm gonna have to ask Terry about that and see if that's okay. I think if I mean dicks is a word. I think that's a we're gonna derail this episode even more. I said last episode I want to do more research episodes, and now I want to talk about the word dick and the etymology of the word dick. So I'm gonna look that up on Google because I want to know a little bit of the history of the word dick. If I'm gonna make dick jokes, I want to talk about. I wonder, like, and also too. So as a podcaster, I do, obviously I have to check a box. I don't know how many of you are familiar with how the podcasting world works, but when you upload an episode onto an RSS feed of any podcast you've ever listened to, there's a box you have to check to say if it's explicit or not. And to my mind, it's like I try not like anything that's got the F-bomb in it. Obviously, like I try and think like PG-13 rules. You can say certain words a few times and it's okay, and it just kind of goes off the rails after that. But the word dick is such a weird word. Okay, so I'm looking at the Wikipedia. Anyway, I don't know. Let me finish that thought before I get into my next thought. But yeah, I wonder, like, if I'm saying the word dick is in the name, the shortening for the word Richard, how many times can I say dick before I have to put that as an explicit tag, I wonder. So this is a fun. Oh, Dick's Sporting Goods is named in the Wikipedia article for dick, parentheses, slang. Dick is a common English slang word for the human penis. It is also used by extension for a variety of slang purposes and is generally considered vulgar. Yeah, I could have figured that out. Offensiveness of the word dick is complicated by the continued use of the word in inoffensive contexts. Given is both a given name, often a nickname for Richard, a surname. That would be unfortunate. Could you imagine if you were Richard Dick? A surname for the popular British dessert Spotted Dick, the novel Moby Dick, the Dick and Jane series of children's books, and the American retailer Dick's Sporting Goods use this. When did this originate, I wonder? So in the mid-17th century, Dick became slang for the human man as a sexual partner. Okay, so I guess that's kind of where it's like Dick and Harry. Yeah, so like 1800s, mid-1800s is what it looks like, or mid-17th century. That's not 1800s. 17 would be 16. Yeah, mid-16th, 1600s was when people started using dick as a slang term. It looks like it's been used as a slang in slang connotations a lot. And in 1994, the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts upheld school policy. Looks like it really started judging, just skimming, very lightly skimming, not doing a lot of research here, very lightly skimming through the Wikipedia article for the word dick, slang. Looks like it was probably in the 90s is when it started to take off more as like a instead of something that's serious. So yeah, the timeline for Dick's Sporting Goods makes sense. It was okay up until somewhat recently, 30 years ago or so, which I guess at this point almost half its lifespan. But yeah, there's your fun fact for the day. We talked about the etymology of dicks. Is that the right? Am I even using that word right? Etymology? I'm pretty sure etymology. What's the definition? So, okay, yeah. So I was right about that. The definition of etymology is the study of the origin of words in a way in which their meanings have changed throughout history. I use that perfectly. Wow. This is probably the most easily derailed episode of this podcast I have ever done. Wow. Okay. So, but I said in the last episode, I want to do more of these where I kind of do some research on stuff, and that was fun. So we all learned, we all sat, and from my dirty mind, we learned a lot about the word dick. And I think we're all better for it. I think we're all more learned, so we can proceed to the rest of this episode of the podcast without laughing when I talk about my adventure with dicks. So anyway, I went to Dick's like 10 minutes later. I went to Dick's Sporting Goods. We went in. That's typically where I go. So my wife sometimes likes to go to Ulta, and there's an Ulta and a Dick's in the same parking lot. And I don't like to go to Ulta because there's nothing in there for me. There's nothing in there that interests me. But there's a Dick's Sporting Goods, and I like outdoors, which is why I'm recording this outdoors. We're back outside again this week. And so I decided to go over there and walk around, and they had these Stanley cups, and I'll probably put a picture of it in the thumbnail. And it's kind of it's a black cup, and it's got the Stanley logo and the word Stanley played out, and it's got like a little rainbow of like the highlights of the word Stanley below it. It's kind of hard to display over audio. I'll put it in the thumbnail on YouTube or in the picture of it in the link dump if anybody wants to see it. But it's a cool looking cup. It's 30 ounces, and I was looking at it, and it was only $35, and I was finally like, you know what? I want to buy it. I'm gonna get it. I have a lot of cups. I have an entire. I have so many cups. Oh my God, I have so many cups and so many travel mugs. As something that my wife hates. Like my wife, I love my wife dearly. I know she doesn't like this about me, is I have a bad habit of just collecting things. Not like a hoarder, or at least I say I'm not like a hoarder, but I love things, and I love having stuff, and I love carrying things. I have like 8 travel mugs, which may or may not seem like a lot. I'll be interested to see what the internet says. It's probably more than 8. But I have a lot of travel mugs, and my wife is just constantly upset with the fact that I keep bringing more home. This one she was okay with for some reason. I think more than anything else to make fun of me for the fact that I bought a Stanley, because I have spent so much time, not necessarily rallying against, but making fun of these cups. Because let me tell you, there's nothing special about these cups. They're big, they're bulky, they're heavy. It's a normal tumbler that happens to have a straw. Everybody boasts about, oh, they keep things super hot or they keep things super cold. I bought it to keep it room temperature, and I have not yet given it an opportunity to test if it keeps things room temperature at all. I brought it outside when I was doing a little bit of yard work last week, and I guess it stayed fairly room temperature. Well, I guess I've kept it in my truck a few times when we've gone out and parked in sunlight and whatnot, and it keeps things as room temperature as I would hope. So I guess it's pretty good at temperature regulation. I really like it. I'm gonna admit, I really like it because I like longer cups. I don't like short, squatty cups. I like my cups to be long, but it's got a handle. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, because a lot of these cups that I have, a lot of these tumblers that I've had in the past that are long and tall, it's just the ones you hold. And my hand gets tired every now and again, especially if you got a bigger tumbler. My hand just gets kind of tired holding a bigger tumbler after a while. So this one's got a really convenient handle. And I like the handle, and it's a good sized handle too. It's not like a small one. Like I'm a pretty big dude. I'm like 6'4". And 240 pounds or so. I think that considers me to be a big dude, and I've got kind of bigger hands, and my hands don't feel like there's still room on this handle for more hands. I could put 2 hands on it, but it's a nice cup. I like it. I think it's cool. Do I think it's overplayed? Absolutely. I think it's really broadly no different than any other tumbler, especially all these other tumblers, the imitation tumblers that have now come onto the market to imitate the Stanleys that also have the handle, because that's the thing that I like most about this, is it has a handle. I have found that I like the straw. I've never had a tumbler with a straw before. At least I've never used the straw in a tumbler. Mostly because they don't have the little rubber casing around them like this one does to hold it in place and keep it from spilling if you slosh your cup around and drop it like I do. But yeah, I think those 2 things make it really, really neat. Can you buy the exact same cup for like $20 cheaper? Absolutely. Do I encourage people to spend their money however they want to? Absolutely. If you want one, buy it. I still think they're kind of dumb, but I will definitely probably be using mine a little bit more. It's been good for me. It's been nice. I feel like I've been drinking more water with it too, which is definitely always good. That, in a nutshell, is what I think of the Stanley Cup. I think it is absolutely one of the many tumblers I have bought in my existence. I think that it's nice for what it is. I don't know if I'd pay $35 for it again, but it's nice. Maybe if you find one on sale, go get yourself a Stanley Cup. Boy, what an episode this has been so far. So I'm gonna kind of start winding things down here a little bit. We're gonna go into Chris's music corner for this week and kind of wrap up the show. I have largely been listening to a lot of the country music I talked about a couple episodes ago, and I feel like I have covered that extensively on this show to date. I have done, I think the last 2 or 3 weeks, Chris's Music Corner have all been country. So I wanted to shift it away from that. I'm trying to kind of, we're going this weekend to see 49 Winchester, and I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really good show, especially because it's Labor Day and it's down on the beach, so I'm very, very excited about that. And I've been listening to a lot of them this week, but I recommended a song with the lead singer of 49 Winchester in it last week, so I'm gonna kind of shift and look at rock. I haven't listened to a lot of rock lately, but I wanted to shift. I wanted to throw out some of the songs or the band that I listened to over the weekend to kind of break up the country music that I always forget exactly how foundational this band was in my music taste in general, and just how much fun I have when I listen to it. I listened to some ACDC this weekend for the first time in a long time. I used to be a massive ACDC fan. It was the first real rock band I ever got into back when I was younger. My dad was a huge fan of them, and I listened to a lot of ACDC when I was younger. And this isn't like this is some small band that you guys are going to go out there. It's the point of the show. I can do whatever I want on here. So we're going to talk about ACDC. I listened to ACDC a lot when I was young. I have very, very early memories of a lot of their songs playing in the garage while I was, holding the flashlight for dad or whatever. I had TNT came on this weekend, and that song, I always forget how much I love that song, especially like I was out back here in the outdoor kitchen, had the radio turned up, and just that song blasting, having a couple of beers. It's a good time. So I'm going to say this week's Chris's Music Corner is TNT by AC/DC. Like I said, not some little small band. I am very aware that probably everybody listening to this podcast has probably heard TNT by AC/DC at least once by virtue of popular culture, but it's a fun departure from what we've been talking about. After this weekend, after we see 49 Winchester, I want to kind of shift around my music a little bit. I try every couple of months to kind of shift my music genres around, just that way I don't go crazy, because I feel like if I listen to the same music over and over and over again, I go a little nutty, but I'm going to try and shift away from that, and I'm thinking I might head back down the classic rock and kind of look at, there's a couple bands out there that I remember listening to years and years ago that didn't have a ton of attention, so I kind of want to go back down that rabbit hole and see what I can find, and just kind of explore the kind of older rock scene and see what I can find out there. But anyway, this has been another wonderfully just off the rails episode of Anecdotal Madness. I always appreciate everybody for listening to this show. It's a ton of fun to make. I enjoy it. I need to get better about planning things and probably recording more ahead of time, because again, it is Wednesday. This is going out tomorrow. I have to edit and upload this tonight, so I'm always racing the clock with this show. But anyway, this has been Anecdotal Madness. If you have enjoyed this podcast, I definitely encourage you to check out our other shows. We have a ton of shows that we do right now. We actually just ended Pip Boys last week, but we're about to start up with another surprise show coming in from Kit. And let me tell you, I've seen the first episode that he piloted for this. Oh, it is honestly probably one of my favorite productions that we've done to date. That man has so much talent, and it's just a ton of fun listening to him rant about things. I think you guys are really going to like that. There are some changes coming up soon as well to Good Morning, Good Night. Stay tuned for that. There's going to be some shifts around with that. We'll probably make an announcement on that pretty soon. Also, eventually, I'm going to remember to do Super Serious. I have been really, really busy lately and have not had time to do the research on it, so that's kind of fallen by the wayside. But every week, I try to make sure that we have this show come out, and Good Morning, Good Night is always out every other Monday. If you haven't listened to Pip Boys, go check that out. Watch the Fallout show. That show is a ton of fun. Keep an eye out for Kit's show, all that good stuff. You can find all of that at stuckontheinternet.com. You can also follow us on social media at stuckoninternet on Twitter and Instagram. You can also check out our subreddit r/stuckontheinternet, and of course stuckontheinternet.com for all of your favorite content in the entire world. Anyways, thank you all very much for listening this week, and we will see you again next week.